I'm now in downtown on the St. Sophie Square. It's a beautiful place around me. You can see this St. Sophie Cathedral, and you can see also the monument to Bogdan Khmelnytsky. And this is a monument I would like to focus upon, because Bogdan Khmelnytsky is a very interesting historical personality. He is a Ukrainian hetman, the Cossack hetman of the mid-17th century, somebody who made a great uprising against Rzeczpospolita, against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and basically teared the Ukrainian Cossack clans from Rzeczpospolita and joined them to Muscovite Tsardom. So it's a very controversial personality for Ukrainian history, because for some people he is a hero, Ukrainian hero who made this uprising. For others, he's a personality who brought Ukraine to the Muscovite Tsardom and then to basically to the Russian Empire. So the next Ukrainian history, the next century, the late 17th and the early 18th century was a century which was very dramatic and very problematic for Ukraine, because Ukraine was losing the autonomy which Bogdan Khmelnytsky was fighting for. But it's important to note that Bogdan was basically a person with a kind of a Western European political culture, from Western European political culture, who was making an uprising against one sovereign, the Polish Rzeczpospolita, and striking a deal with another sovereign, the Muscovite Tsar, a deal which had certain conditions, and these conditions presupposed Ukrainian Cossack autonomy, the so-called Ukrainian Cossack army, which was, or Ukrainian Cossack host, which was an official names of those territories. So the next century was a century basically when Ukrainians were losing this autonomy, when the centralized model of the Muscovy and then Russian state stripped Ukrainian lands from this autonomy. But from this mid-17th century, we can also say that these are the date of birth of Ukrainian political culture and Ukrainian political identity, because from that moment on, the Ukrainian political identity started to be really linked with this Cossack identity. But one point is very important for me, is that the Ukrainian Cossack identity, political identity, was so much linked with this idea of autonomy, with this idea of self-governance. And if Ukrainians saw themselves as kind of aligning with certain external power, they saw their role as a role of very autonomous people and very freedom-like people. This is something that was in the middle of all those Ukrainian attempts to declare independent sovereignty once and again. And it was so opposed to, I would say, a Russian model of statehood, which was very centralized and which was aimed rather to strip other parts of this empire of its autonomy. So you see that history kind of repeats itself, and it's very important that we remember about those things, and we remember about Bogdan Khmelnytsky. Again, he's a very controversial figure. For somebody, he's a Ukrainian national hero. For others, he's a person who sold Ukraine to Russians. For others, he's a person under whom there were pogroms against the Jews who were living on this territory. So I think these all elements who make these mosaics of Ukrainian history, but we should remember it. It was Ukraine in 5 minutes. My name is Volodymyr Yermolenko. I'm editor-in-chief of UkraineWorld.org. Stay with us.